this down in exactly the same way because we still want to have that bagel shape, even though we're vying for a barrel. Just because we can, we might as well let the melt process that we've been using give us the platform that we want to create that barrel without having to do anything extra, really. It's all so nice. So I'm working on the surface of the flame. It's a slow rotation at first, right? Glass is heading towards the heat. It's dripping. I'm heating the exterior of the bead in towards the core. I'm not heating the core first, because then it will kind of collapse and be just sort of a blob. I just want it to... I'm going to hold that mandrel nice and straight. You know, straight when you need to. I mean, I'm also working at... You'll see me working at angles like this and whatnot. I mean, I can feel in my fingertips where the glass needs to go. So I'm facilitating that with my angle. But generally speaking, it's the mandrel is being held straight in that glass, molten glass, isn't traveling left to right because of my angle. I'm working with it to keep it balanced. We get to that point, that lovely point where it's just rolling freely, right on the surface of the flame. Feel it in your fingertips. You say, ooh, that's nice. That's a nice one, yeah. Ooh. You come away, let it cool, right? Goes from a liquid to more of a solid. And what we want to do now is we want that interior of the bead to be a little cooler, and what we're doing is we're shaping or manipulating the surface of the bead. Okay, so let it cool a little bit, then come back, warm that surface up so it's like equally orange but not molten, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to rotate against the marver. I'm rotating and then angling a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to come back to the flame. You can see that it's a little flatter now. It used to be kind of a bagel top, that shape. Now it's a little flatter. And I'll come back down again, rotating and pressing. Not that hard though. I'm just getting it warm enough so that it will allow itself to be shaped, but it's not liquid. I'm pressing and forming and shaping as I rotate. Okay. But when I go back up to the heat, I do not want to go molten, because that'll mean that I've lost all the work. I want that the base of this bead, the core of the bead, to be relatively solid, and all I'm doing is just kind of shaping the surface. So get it warm, and then come back down, and I'm rotating and I'm angling some. Okay, because I want to angle those edges out a little bit. I'll come down and rotate, press, and angle, okay? And you can see that edge, I want to get, that's a nice tall edge, but I'd like it to be a little straighter. So I'm going to warm it up, not molten, just a little bit warmer. And then I'm going to come down to the side of the marver, and it's a little bit warm, but not molten. And I'm just rotating against the edge. Okay, and see how nice that edge is. And by the way, you can do this all on a regular marver as well. This is just like way nicer because it's fixed. So if you don't have one, woo, you might want to think about getting it. It's pretty nice. So I've got one edge that's pretty dandy. And I want to clean up that other one. Again, just warming it up. It's not molten at all. And on this side, I'm pressing and rotating. Okay. Up, 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 up. Press and rotate. Again, not very much pressure. You can break the bead release. You can do lots of bad things by overheating and over pressing. All we want to do is just things are warm enough so that you're able to do the work, but not so hot that you reshape every time. Because what I want to do is, in the most efficient way possible, I want to shape that bead and then be done with it, you know. So I don't want to be constantly going up to the flame and reheating it so that it's molten again, because then I've got to go back down and do the work all over again. I really want to just do that work once. I don't have any desire to do it multiple times unnecessarily. Now I'll just go one more time, rotate, press a little bit, you know, then check, you know, how's it look? I mean, edges are looking nice. Nice tall edges, right? I like that. It's a nice, you know, barrel shape, and it's balanced, it's centered, it's got nice dimpled ends, right? Which makes me happy. So the last thing I want to do, that's kind of a cool glass too. It's got a nice thing going. So the last thing I want to do is, you know, I come away from the flame, you know, let it cool, and then before I put it into the insulating material, I want to flame anneal it, and I want to do that with every bead that I make. You know, it doesn't matter that you're putting them in the kiln later. It doesn't matter what else is going on. The last thing that I want to do is I want to work high in the flame, right? And I want to heat the exterior of the bead. And I'm not changing the shape, but I want it to get nice and warm across the surface. It's like a singular color. Now I want to do the edge, and I'm going to flip it over and do the other edge, and then across the body one more time. I can feel it loosening. It loosens, you know, as it does in the kiln during the annealing process, because that's just what happened. It was annealed. It was flame annealed. And the good thing about that is that now it's a singular temperature. Okay, so I take that and I put it into my insulating material and leave it in there for an hour or more. And that thing, when it cools at an equal rate throughout the whole bead. If one half of it is hot and the other half is less hot or more hot, then they're going to cool at different rates and potentially separate, or they'll try to separate, and that creates stress. So nobody wants unnecessary stress in their life. So flame annealing is a good thing. All right, that's it. See you next time.